Lice. Oh, just hearing that word makes me itch. It's a word every parent dreads. But don't worry, my friends, I have you covered. Today, you're going to learn some clear, calm, and clean encouragement and actual solutions that are going to help you rid your kids of these pesky bugs. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lice, Roers, your host, and hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm here just to pour some positive back into your day with practical tips and stories to encourage and inspire. So let's dive in. Hey friends, thanks for joining me today. My guest today is someone who has stepped into the job that every parent dreads and has turned it into a mission of compassion, innovation, and hope. Amy Chinian is the founder of My Hair Helpers, which is a family-focused lice care brand with 6 locations across Southern California, and her products are sold nationwide. Her work was born out of some of her own very overwhelming experiences as a young mom when she was trying to find safe solutions to rid her family of these pesky little bugs. After some, unexpected hardship, Amy fueled up on her faith and focused on helping other families with all of that knowledge that she had gained. In this conversation, you're going to hear how Amy transformed adversity into purpose and how she's built a thriving business from one single little red picnic basket and the practical things that every parent really needs to know about lice, what works, what doesn't work, and why there's really no need to panic. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I am Lice Roers, your host. And today I am joined by this sweet, sweet friend who has such a brave heart. She's a business leader, and she handles the one thing that I think almost every parent dreads to deal with: lice. Amy's got a beautiful story and great suggestions and tips and ideas, and I want you to hear a little bit about her story. So Amy Chinian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm always excited to talk about what I do, explain how this little bug operates, and throw some Jesus in there.
Well, he made the little bug, so I
That's
guess
exactly right. We call on his name.
exactly. I guess he has a reason for the little bugs. I'm from Minnesota, and I'll tell you what, every once in a while, I have to have a little conversation with my Jesus to say, let's talk about mosquitoes. Like,
Yeah.
what is all of that about? But
Well, it's interesting because when you see the climate behind me, it's all beautiful and sunny, 80 degrees. And, we have lice outbreaks going on right now. And then I'm looking at your climate in the back, you've got snow, and you said you're having lice outbreaks. So
right.
we know it's not about climate.
Right, exactly. Well, this is a really interesting topic. And I was just thinking about this after we had met, months ago here.
Hmm.
And it's like you handle the one of the jobs. I mean, there's many of these jobs, but
Hmm.
you handle one of those jobs that nobody wants to deal with. And what a beautiful servant's heart for you to have this desire, motivation, skill set that you can come in and give people such encouragement and peace and kind of walk them through how to handle this kind of scary word, 4-letter word, lice. And I know that you didn't exactly like you didn't go to college for this and decide when you were a young girl that you were going to become what you are today. So let's back up and talk a little bit about how you moved into that. And toward the end, I definitely want to give our listeners some tips and ideas for how to handle it if they get that dreaded email. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So I'm here in California. I've been here most of my life. And I married my husband in 1991, and we had 5 kids in 8 years. I was pregnant with my last daughter. She's now 25. And my head was itching like crazy. And I didn't grow up with lice. I really honestly had heard the word, but I didn't really have any background or experience with lice whatsoever. So when I asked my girlfriend to check my hair, I really honestly didn't know what she was going to say. Maybe I thought she was going to say something related to my pregnancy. I was pregnant, with my last daughter with a 10-pound baby, and I was ready to give birth, and my hair was itching. So my girlfriend looked at my hair and she said, "You've got head lice." And I said, "What? Head lice? How does that operate?" And I was so shocked to find out there's actually a bug that lives in your hair. Like, I can deal with fleas, they bite and leave. But this one lives in your hair. And I was so shocked and grossed out and not even sure what to do. It's a scary feeling. You just want to wash everything right away. You're like, oh my gosh, is it in here? Is it in my bedding? Is it in here? But it's not. This is a bug that travels head to head and it doesn't live in your environment. In fact, 99% of lice is passed head to head.
Oh,
So when you are dealing with head lice in your home, in your family, then you need to check every family member. Forget about so much focusing on cleaning. Although it's nice to have a clean home, it just doesn't impact lice.
interesting.
Okay.
Okay, that's so interesting because I would have thought, like you just said, I would have thought bedding and blankets and hats and whatever. But
Well, the thing is, Lisa, is that they live on blood. They're parasitic.
oh,
And so where there's no blood, there's no lice. And
interesting.
the eggs need the warmth on the scalp. They can't even hatch off the hair. So even the CDC has information that says bag everything up for 10 days. Well, it's really surprising how much wrong information is out there, but it's really to our benefit to know how this little bug operates.
Yeah, because it comes. I mean, we're having kind of a surge of it right now here in Minnesota too, like you had
Uh-huh.
mentioned. So it's something that if you're equipped for it and you understand it, I think it takes away a lot of that fear.
It does, but it's funny though, you have to almost go to places for information that aren't familiar to most people. If you go on places like the CDC website and Google, you're not going to find the true way that this bug operates. So, what happened when my kids had lice and I had lice? I was ready to give birth. I was like, what do I do? So I went to the store like every good parent. I went to the pharmacy and I got, some over the counter treatments that you probably have out there, which are parathrums, and they don't work. The lice are immune to them and they might kill a bug or two, but nobody tells you that they just don't work anymore. So here we are, and you're back to square one. You feel like, okay, I've done this, I've done that and we still have lice. And that's usually when they call me. And that's exactly what I did. When my kids had lice, I went to the yellow pages and I found one person in my city that had just opened a company. And she came to my house and she brought her products. And I honestly don't remember a lot because I was so upset, but she got it out of my hair and out of the kids' hair. They all had it, all four of them, except the one in my tummy and was gone. She just combed everything out. She knew how this bug operated, and it was quite expensive, but at that point, you don't care.
Yes,
You've
just
tried
get
everything.
it out.
Just get it out. And you're so excited that someone knows what they're doing. And we didn't have lice, didn't hear about lice for another 12 years. And then what happened is my kids were in a private school and the parents were going nuts over this whole lice topic. And I said to myself, I should learn more about this bug. I'm sending people to another company. I'm telling parents, oh, call this person. And it just dawned on me. And I felt the Holy Spirit say to me, you can do this.
Mm,
It was one of those moments where the voice of God spoke to my heart and said, you can do this.
mm,
Well, I stopped and I paused and I said, yes, I can, because I love people. And helping people is my passion. I love helping people. And so I didn't think at that time, oh, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to be considered the lice lady. I didn't think that. I just thought I'll learn more so I can help people. So what happened is I got a book online called Lice Advice, written by a very special lady. She's now my friend. I met her years later and I read the book and I educated myself. And I thought to myself, wow, this is way different how this bug operates than you see and hear if you're reading the back of directions or something you've picked up in the pharmacy. It's just different because there's a lot of myths. And the first one I told you about is that lice live in your house, the eggs hatch in your house. None of that is true. 99% of license pass head to head. So what happened is I educated myself and I was able to talk to parents. And then an interesting thing happened. My husband had a very successful car business that he built with his own bare hands. And he had about 100 people working for him. And in the recession of 2008, car dealers were going out of business. And I never expected him to go out of business because he had been so successful for many years. And he was one of the only people doing these special locks that go on your hood of your car. So lo and behold, the whole company folded. Car dealers were going out of business. Um, and we found ourselves in quite a peculiar situation. Neither one of us had ever been flat broke, let alone owing $1 million. We owed $1 million. We lost our home, we lost the business, we lost the building. Even his car died in the driveway.
Oh my goodness.
And I found myself really questioning God. I said, this is not how I wanted this situation to end. I always prayed, I've been faithful. I said, Lord, surely this isn't how you want this to end. But then I realized, Lisa, that God does things the way he does them for a reason. And he promises in the word of God, Romans 8:28, he's going to use everything for the good
Mm-hmm.
for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. So I just let go. I said, Lord, you have a plan here. We started praying. My husband and I would pray, God, what do you want us to do? And it all happened so fast. Um, it was like dominoes fell. And I had started my knowledge about lice and it turned into, well, I'm going to get products and I bought a little red picnic basket for $1 at a garage sale and I filled it with products and I didn't know what worked and what didn't. But I started going to homes, just word of mouth, and helping at the school. I really didn't want to get kicked out of the school because we had no money. I said, I'm going to make myself so valuable. I'm going to do all the lice checks. I'm going to lead moms in prayer. I'm going to do the art classes. I had all these things planned because I was concerned about being able to keep my kids in that school. So what happened is we lost our home. We had to move and we moved to a different city, a beautiful city in Calabasas. And our son had a full scholarship to Oaks Christian, which happened all at the same time everything was collapsing.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like sometimes when everything is going wrong, there'll be one thing going right. And that's what happened. So we packed up. I had about 24 hours to pack up everything. 20 years of marriage, I had to pack up and put into one closet. And we moved into a tiny little apartment in Calabasas. And our son went to this beautiful Christian school, and we started our lives over.
Wow. So many changes so quickly for you.
Yes.
And the more I hear about these kinds of stories, the more I'm absolutely convinced that these plans that we have or these interruptions in our own,
Hmm.
path, God uses those not just to change us, but to
Yeah.
change others around us and the community around us and sometimes the world around us. And that's exactly what he has done with you. You thought he was helping you spin up a business to pay for your own bills, but now when you look back and you see all of the people you've been able to impact, it's almost like you can now understand in hindsight how or why maybe God was doing what he was doing.
Yes. It was such a whirlwind. I remember I didn't know where I was going to live. And I knew that when you have a very trusting relationship with God, you know that he's not going to let you down. We
Yeah.
didn't go hungry. We went to the food bank in the back of the school. I dropped him off at the front of the school with celebrities' parents and Rolls Royces and all these fancy cars. And I'd go to the food bank in the back. It was next to a church and they had a food bank. And I said, you know what, Lord, there's a roof over my head. My family's fed. Had this small business that I'd created. Um, and then I just expanded my business to a different area in California. And that went on, I had a friend that made me a business card and he made me like a web page, but I really didn't have any finances to back my business. It was just little by little by little. And my husband, he became a bit depressed. And so I just, when that happens, sometimes you just have to take a step forward and be the one that's going to encourage and take the lead in marriage. It's, ups and downs. And so what happened is I was going home to home and I was giving my cards to school nurses and I was bringing home checks. And he would look at these checks. He said, wow, what are you doing? This is incredible. And God had given me this special gift. I honestly, Lisa, didn't know what I was doing, but nobody else did either. Nobody knew
Right.
that. Nobody understood bugs. So they didn't know that I didn't know. I just
Yeah.
knew a little more than them,
Yeah, just the bar was just a little higher than them, just
just
a
a little
tiny
high.
little. Yeah.
We have, phrase, fake it till you make it
Yes.
and be nice and smile. And at least you can be support to them.
Yeah. Although
And
I will say you weren't faking it because you did know just a little bit more, and I'm
a little
sure
bit more.
yeah, and I'm sure through the course of the years that you've done this, you've learned volumes, probably master class level stuff.
Yeah, it took a few years to really understand this bug and what kind of products to use and to get my system down. So as I went on through the years, I just add a little more. I had to add an extra product. I, train an extra lady. And so I had um my first lady that I trained, she's so lovely. She took over the area that we had to move from. So she was doing all the lice checks and treatments in that area. And then I moved to Calabasas and we opened up our first location. I was driving by uh, on my way to a customer's house and I saw on a tree for rent a little sign. And I said, oh my gosh, this is so cute. It's a little cottage. And it's a tiny little cottage. And I looked in, I said, oh, that's too small. And my husband says, that's perfect. So we opened up our first location up here in Thousand Oaks, and it's just adorable. It's a little yellow cottage. And so that was my first location. And then what happened is, little by little, I would add to my product line. So now I have some oils that I developed
Mhm.
that are all
And
natural.
yep, and the
Uh,
line is called
this
Hair Helpers.
Yes, my hair helpers. This is my cocoa mint removal oil. It goes right on the scalp, straight dry on the scalp. And then you can put conditioner on the ends of the hair and then you suffocate the bugs and then you detangle it. And then the comb is so important. I have this comb. This is one of my combs. The teeth are very small.
Yes, I
See,
see
when
that.
you buy something in the store, the teeth are very far apart and it
Mhm,
goes right over the eggs and over the bugs. You need a comb that is very tight together.
mhm.
And then you section the hair and you just comb everything out. It takes a while, but it's much better product than anything out there.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I know you went through some significant steps to make sure you found something
Mhm.
natural and
Right,
organic that was gonna really be healthful as
right,
well as effective. Tell us more
right.
about that.
So what I was finding is that I have to layer the products on. First, I use the oil, which I showed. It's the other oil I have is like a dimethicone. This is my cocoa mint. I have two types of oil that you can use, and that suffocates the lice. And then I put a layer of enzymes, which loosens the glue of the eggs. Okay. I put a layer of that. And then I detangle the hair really, really well. And then you start combing. Last night I had a customer come in the salon. I was there till late, and they had lice about 4 months. And I was getting, it was hard to get the comb in because all the eggs were glued together. It was really amazing. that my products and my combing technique worked because there was a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can stop the bugs and kill them and then loosen the glue of the eggs with the products, then you can get in there and get everything out by sectioning the hair. And, you can't go to the next section till the first section's clear.
Sure.
But, I'm not a hairdresser. I never really worked with my hands. So I'm convinced people can do this. Okay. If I can do it, you can do it. Um, but, I'm here to say I have 6 locations now. I open them up one by one over the 16-year period. I've opened up in different areas in Southern California, and we use the same products in all of my salons.
Okay. That is amazing. Amy, that is just so amazing. And what a gift that you are giving people to help them through this process. Do you do any like long distance kind of coaching if someone wanted to use your products and connect with you long distance for tips and ideas?
Yes, I have, and I'm happy to do that. I love that. I do have my products on Amazon, Amazon Prime,
Okay.
if you're in a hurry. I do have them on my website as well, and I am always happy to walk people through it. It makes me feel good, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm here. Yeah,
Wonderful. Yeah, I was
yeah.
talking with a friend of mine the other day and anticipating our beautiful conversation here. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm interviewing this amazing gal. She does this, this, and this. And my friend's first comment was, when is she opening a store in Minnesota?
Oh,
So I love that you're
oh,
able to do things remotely.
don't tempt me.
Oh, my friend, if you looked outside right now, you might change your mind on that idea.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, well, it's amazing that lice,
Mm,
like any climate. I always wondered if there was lice in Alaska. How do well, they probably dig in deeper. They're nice and warm and cozy in there.
there you go. That's probably
Yeah.
true.
Well,
Wow.
you can also share with the mom friends this mint spray. Lice hate the smell of mint.
Okay.
So, styling your children's hair, the girls have to wear their hair back braided bunned because lice travel head to head.
Yes.
And if the hair is dangling down, it's like a bridge that they can
Mm,
walk across. So you want to style their hair so it's not floating around and then spray it with the mint spray. Okay. And then I also have a mint shampoo and conditioner that I recommend once a week. Take a peek with your comb. Use the shampoo and conditioner, and while the hair's wet, just comb, swiping on a white paper towel to see if they've had a bug past.
okay.
Okay, your comb is your superpower.
Okay.
And I never knew this when my kids were little. I used to wonder, look at my hair. Can you look at my hair? Well, look with your comb. Your
Mm.
comb is going to tell you because anything in there will get trapped.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 quick questions. First of all, for anybody listening right now, why
Yeah.
is it when we start talking about lice, everybody starts scratching their head? It's like I it's just kinda like even the conversation makes us a little bit
That's so
uneasy, but
funny.
yeah.
Well, the reason lice is itchy is because when a bug comes over to your hair and they take a little sip of your blood, they inject their saliva, which is like an irritant. It
Mm,
coagulates the blood and acts as an irritant. So that makes it really itchy, but only 50% of people itch. So
okay.
it's always good when your kid's itchy, then you know something's going on.
True, it's like an indicator of what something to
Right.
watch for, but doesn't that all just sound lovely? Okay, well, then the second thing wanted to ask you was, what do they look like and what to look for if you are wondering, does my child have this or not? I know you mentioned the comb and putting it onto a white paper towel, but what do they look for?
Okay. So the eggs, which are nits, are laid by the female. They lay about 8 eggs a day. And then in 9 to 10 days, the eggs hatch into a small bug called a nymph. Okay.
Are they black? Are
And
they white? Are they
they're brown.
brown?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then after they've fed on your blood, they can be a darker red.
lovely. Okay.
And the eggs are like a teardrop shape. Okay. They almost have like a little tail like appearance, like a strawberry seed. And
Oh,
the hot spots are you want to look here behind the ears, nice and cozy, the nape of the neck, and the crown of the head. So when
okay.
you're doing a lice check, a dry one on your child, just split the hair and see. if there's any eggs. And the rule of thumb is if it sticks and you have to use some force to pull it off, it's a lice egg. If you can flick it off and it comes off, it's dandruff.
Got it.
So big difference. I always tell people, see, can you pull it with your nails? And they'll say, no, it's hard. Okay, well, it's lice. Yeah.
All right. That's such a great tip, Amy. Thank you.
You're
Because,
welcome.
because I think people are, so many parents are just, they get that email. There's
Uh-huh.
been lice reported in your classroom. And then their first concern is, what do I look for? And how do I
Yeah.
even?
Well, your comb. You got to get your comb. You can find it on my website. Lice eliminator comb, your shampoo and conditioner. You should really have all those in your cabinet.
You have aspirin or you have fever reducers as you need them. You should also have some lice
Yeah,
protectants.
and the
Yeah.
schools can't kick the kids out now unless you're in a private school. If you're in a public school, they just let the kids usually walk around with it.
Mm.
They don't want to violate HIPAA. So the kids just, unless there's 3 kids, they won't even let the parents know in California. There has to
Oh
be 3 kids
oh my
that
goodness.
report it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
Well,
because it's not life threatening. It's more of a nuisance.
good point.
Yeah.
If you don't catch it in time, what is the outcome if you let it go?
Well, last night was a perfect example. This family was walking around with lice for a long time, and there were eggs everywhere
Oh,
and bugs everywhere. It takes us a lot longer to take out that kind of situation rather than if you found it and you've only had it a week, because as each day goes by, that female bug is laying eggs and they're hatching, and then those bugs mature and they mate and they hatch. So pretty soon he's got a whole family reunion going on in there. And it's really not fun.
yeah. So they're never going to go away on their own. You really do have to take action.
They won't go away on their own. I feel so badly for children that get ostracized from their peer group because they've got lice and you know, the kids all know who has lice and they won't play with those kids.
Hmm.
So I started a nonprofit called Lice Free Forever Charity
Oh,
here in Southern California. If the school nurses contact me and they tell me, I've got a child here that's struggling with lice for a very long time, I will tell them, come into my clinic. I'll take it out for free. Let me help them. And within hours, I can have them back at school and with a whole new life.
yes.
It says no child should have their childhood defined by lice. It's really not fair.
Yeah. I mean, nobody feels good when you've got something like that happening, no matter what age you are, but for sure when you're a young one.
And the
Eh,
kids tease and they make fun.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Amy, the work that you're doing is so needed. And I'm so grateful that God's put this on your heart to have this way of serving other people.
Right.
Just a blessing, I'm sure, to everybody that they finally have somebody who knows how to do this and can walk them through the
Yeah.
process.
I
So,
love it. It's
yeah,
empowering and it's funny. I found my purpose in life. It's helping others, but it's in a weird way.
yeah. Well, you took something that could have really derailed your life
Mhm.
and you turned it into something that is a huge blessing to hundreds and maybe thousands of other people. So,
To God be the glory. I think the Lord has given us all gifts. I wouldn't say mine started out as a nitpicker, but I will say that my gift has always been connecting with people and helping others.
yes.
So finding your purpose and finding your gift God's given you, it has to do with your passion. And that's what always made me happy is helping others. If I could change someone's life, then, let me be the one. I'll do it. Lord,
Mm,
send me. So
yeah.
that was ingrained in me. It just happened to turn into a business.
Mm. Right. Well, and you were able to find the silver lining. Not everybody can do that.
Thank you.
Let us know people can find you. Tell us your website or how people can locate all your
Sure.
great products.
So I have a website. It's really nice. It has a lot of podcasts and information, FAQs. It's www.myhairhelpers.com. You can buy products there or on Amazon. Um, and I'm on TikTok at My Hair Helpers, Instagram, same handle, and Facebook.
Wonderful.
If you want to see some really cool videos about some of the stuff I'm talking about, get ready. If you have a weak stomach, don't go. But you'll see some of the cases. Some of the cases look pretty gnarly.
Yeah, well, it's probably at least helpful to understand what you're looking for. Sometimes that visual, obviously the picture speaks a thousand words, so it kind of is
Well, it's
helpful.
good to see what you're looking for. That way, if you're looking through your kid's hair, you could see, oh, this is what it looks like.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I will be sure to put your links in our show notes so people can find you. And if they wanted to set up like a Zoom call or conversation with you, can they do that through your website as well?
They can text me at 310-874-4550.
Okay.
And, they can say, hey, I heard you on Sunshine Cafe. If they have questions, they can just ask me. I love that. I
Okay.
love connecting with people.
Okay. Wonderful. Hopefully you won't be overly inundated by phone calls and
I
texts.
doubt it.
Yeah. Well, Amy, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Before we wrap up, I always like to ask my guests if there's one more
Mhm.
thing on your heart or one last thing that you'd like to share.
My advice for life is follow Jesus with your whole heart. He'll never let you down. You might go through highs and lows, but he promises I'll never leave you or forsake you. And when I was going through that rough period where we didn't know where we were going to live, we didn't have jobs, um, the Lord lifted us up little by little. And sometimes it doesn't happen overnight, but if you continue to trust and continue to put your faith in Him and be faithful, God will do it, and He'll fulfill His purpose and plan for your life. Trust Him and rely on Him. And that's my advice. Follow the Lord with your whole heart.
That is a beautiful encouragement. Thank you so very much.
Mhm.
Amy, you are a lovely soul. I so appreciate your time today. Thanks for being with us and sharing with us your wealth of wisdom about this annoying little bug.
I can't wait to hear from my people from Minnesota. Make some new friends.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You're my most favorite nitpicker I've ever met in my life. How about
Oh,
that?
probably the only one you've ever met. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I love Amy's heart to just help families in any way she possibly can and to just serve them with the information that she's learned. I have 6 reminders for you today. Number 1, lice is not a crisis. So lower that fear by learning the facts. Once you understand how lice actually works and you are equipped with the tools that you need to handle it, well, the panic doesn't seem so overwhelming. Lice doesn't live in your home. It spreads from head to head, and it's far more manageable than most people realize, and even easier when you catch it early. Number 2, most drugstore treatments, sadly, do not work anymore. Common over-the-counter products like parathens and permethrins have lost their effectiveness because lice are resistant to them. Knowing this will save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. So stock your home instead with tools that really work. And you will be ready if and when you get that unwanted email from your kid's school telling you that lice is in your classroom. Speaking of tools, number 3, the comb is the real game changer. A tight-toothed lice comb is your best tool for detection and removal of lice. If you're hearing lice is going around, just plan to do some quick weekly checks. And if you do that, you can stop an outbreak while it's relatively easy to fix and before it really gets out of hand. Number 4, lice will not go away on their own. You have got to take action. Lice multiply daily, so waiting only makes it harder. Early detection keeps a small problem from turning into a full family infestation. So don't put it off because you just don't want to deal with it. It's going to get worse. Take action and you'll be so glad you did. Number 5, you want to avoid lice in the first place? Level up your hair habits. Amy taught us that lice does not survive on your bedding or furniture, so all that deep cleaning isn't required. It might be nice to have a clean home, but it's not required to keep the lice away, which is really contrary to a lot of information you're going to find online. However, keeping that long, beautiful hair on your girls tied back in a bun or braids, using some mint spray at the scalp, and checking your kids' scalps regularly, those actions are far more effective ways to avoid spreading lice among your family. And finally, number 6, God can turn your hardest season into a huge blessing. You know, Amy's story shows us how God can transform personal adversity into personal purpose. When we trust Him, even through those lowest moments, and we find our gratitude or we remain grateful, we keep our eyes open for the opportunities that God's making available for us, God can transform something beautiful out of those broken places. Just keep trusting in Him and keep on taking the next step. Thanks for joining me today, friends, and I hope this episode was really helpful for you. If you did find it helpful, I hope you'll consider forwarding it on to someone you might know because, gosh, you just never know who's dealing with what out there and what might be encouraging that was in our conversation today. So pass it along, like it, share it, and subscribe. And I just want to let you know I have a couple of spots open for life coaching, and I would love to partner with you to help you get unstuck and move toward those goals that you have in life. Whether you're an executive in the corporate world or whether you're executive of your own home, I can't wait to meet you and help you reach those goals. You can just email me at lisa@liceroers.com to get connected. Until next time, my friends, stay encouraged, be inspired, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time right here at the Sunshine Cafe.